people that took the trip all the way, all the villains, all the way to the NFC Championship. It was disappointing, yes, but at least we got a chance to be disappointed this year. And that was an awesome experience to win a couple playoff games and to kind of catch everybody up to speed. It's been a while since I talked to you. So, but I don't know. Give me your overall thoughts of the season, and then I'm going to get into a couple topics for today.
I think the season was amazing. It is, tied for the best season I've ever seen our Detroit Lions put on. I mean, I was a kid back then when we won 12 games, Russ. So the fact that we were able to get back there and become one of the, not just the NFC, but one of the league's best teams, it is such night and day, coming over from the Quintricia era. When Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell were first here, that first little three-quarter stretch of the season, it was tough. It was like, oh, man, tell me this isn't the same old Lions. But then that last quarter stretch of their first year, I think we upset the Cardinals. I think that was our first dub. And, you could – no, maybe it was against the Vikings. I don't remember, but I just remember that last quarter stretch. You could kind of – yeah, you could kind of see the season things kind of just taking mold. And you're like, okay – we've seen this before. Maybe we can build upon this. And then we got off to a rough start, 1-6. And what was it, 2022? And there was a lot of head scratching, me included. I'm like, man, is this Dan Campbell guy really? Was this a good move? And then the way we finished the season, almost snuck into the playoffs. Knew we weren't going in the playoffs, but kept the Packers out. And then last year, it has just been full circle. It's amazing. The job's not quite done yet. I'm not ready to rest on my laurels for an NFC Championship game that we were so close to winning. But, it's been a great ride. It has.
It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. And you know what? We've been chomping at the bit like the entire offseason, and it was nice that Brad Holmes actually spoke to the media today. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it. I just kind of wanted to glaze over. Did you get a chance to listen to it?
I did not, Russ. Sorry, I was picking up guinea pig betting. Very important.
It's all good. I just took a couple notes. I just kind of wanted to go through just the overall feel. It's like a lot of what I talk about on this program has to do with like trusting these guys and understanding their leadership and understanding where they're going to go and why they make decisions. I love being able to try to understand the psychology out on that. And when he was asked about being out on, picking at 29, that being differently, being a little bit different of a position than he's used to. And he had went on to say something along the lines of that he might be out on some of the top players. You just kind of put yourself into that position where you're like, okay, well, we're not going to get these top 10 dudes with these super high grades. So some of them are just kind of out the door. Every player. So one thing that I really get from Brad Holmes is they have a list of things that they want as attributes. He said not everybody can play for the Detroit Lions. So they got a checkbox that I believe that every single player that they pick or bring in here, they have to check every single box. There's no exceptions. It's not like, I don't know, this guy can run really fast. No, it's like they have to check every box as it comes to like the type of person they are between the ears, the type of character that the person has. You notice them going after captains and all that stuff. So I don't base it off of windows or needing players. So what he's done in the offseason, I believe, is put himself into a position to where he can actually go in there. Let's go get the best player available. We're not really worried about any one position. We draft right kind of football players. It's going to be tough for a rookie offensive lineman to crack one of them big boys that they got up front. So I think you got that in more than one position. Not just offensive linemen, but it's like there may be a chance that every single player that's drafted this year might not start. So give me your thoughts on everything that I just kind of said right there, because that's just kind of like the psychology of Brad Holmes. What do you feel about that?
Sorry, Russ, the wind kicked up a little bit. Hopefully, it doesn't disturb my microphone. But yeah, you hit it spot on. I think at 29, you have to draft BPA. Brad Holmes has shown that that's pretty much his motto anyway. I wouldn't mind going interior offensive line. I know you said it's going to be tough to crack, but with the 29th pick, I'm not sure if you're expected to be a starter or not. Like he just alluded to, we're not getting a top tier pick, you guys. I see the fantasies of a Latu, of guys of positional need, even Arnold. I've seen a bunch of wheels spun in which we landed top prospect. Chances are, you guys, we are not getting the top prospect at a premium position. Now, if you're talking interior offensive lineman, one of these, there's some great interior O-line play coming out in the draft this year. And I have no issue with grabbing one of these guys, letting them learn behind Zietler as well as Glasgow, who are both in their 30s. Heck, Zietler's in his mid-30s, but played exceptional last year for the Ravens. I have no issue with bringing in an interior O-lineman and letting one of these guys sit and learn. Also, Ragnow, we know he's had a health concern. Decker, the report came out about his dead bone. Russ, I've been very vocal in that to keep a position group of strength, you have to keep investing in it. And much like you see with the 49ers or their defensive line, they just keep throwing assets at it. And you got a good rotation wheel. I have no issue with us doing that on the offensive line. I mean, Glasgow, Zietler, they've been doing this for a minute. Savvy vets. Glasgow coming back to our Lions after a stint with the Broncos. I have no issue with the 29th pick of investing in BPA, and if that's interior offensive lineman or tackle, I'm okay with it.
I love it. I love it. And to me, I'm in the exact same position because where the Lions roster stands. I mean, and that's kind of what we're going to go over here, right here. What I wanted to do is a little exercise today, is to kind of go through position by position. And I'm thinking instead of going A to F, we could go scale of 1 to 10. Now, I have brought up the athletics version, and I'm going to kind of go in that order. But grading the position groups on a scale from 1 to 10, and I'm just going to kind of give you, where we're at right here. So at this position, this is what the Athletic says. It says over the past 2 seasons, Goff ranks second in passing yards with not over 9,000, third in touchdown passes with 59.6, and passer rating EPA dropback. He and the Lions will look to get an extension done for the future. Obviously, we've been talking about that. Behind him, invested in their quarterback room last year, drafting Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round. Has had a full offseason in there. It looks like he's there. And then Sudfield being entrenched in the quarterback 3, if they're even going to roster that, probably be more of a practice squad thing. So scale of 1 to 10, where are you ranking the quarterback room going into the draft?
I got to give us at least a 9. I like our situation. I think we're a great situation. To be honest with you, much like the Cowboys with Lance and Prescott, much like the Jaguars with newly acquired Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence, obviously, and the Steelers with Russ Wilson and Justin Fields. This is something. Now Hooker's a little bit more of a trajectory, but let's not forget this guy. This was a guy with a 1st-round grade who slid to the 3rd round due to an injury. So, there is a bit of hopium in my grade of giving us a 9, but I think it's a great quarterback room on paper. So,
yeah, I mean, I would be right there with you. That's where I had my grade with them, is at a 9. And here's the thing: is like when I put these grades in, I'm assuming that Brad Holmes is going to continue to do what he is doing, which is drafting Pro Bowl players at a rate that is unheard of. The second best team has 2 Pro Bowlers that they've drafted in the last 3 years, and we have 5. So Brad Holmes is doing some stuff that is unheard of in as far as drafting. So 9 out of 10. That's what I'm going to give that quarterback room, and I'm going to put the draft priority at it as really low. I mean, I can't see them maybe a late round flyer on somebody that they want to put on the practice squad or something like that. But that's where I'd have that. So where are you at with that? In the comments right here. I'm sorry we haven't really said hello to everybody. Let's put a shout out right here to Donkey Kong up in the house. Super Bowl or bust, baby. John Kapler, what's up? And that's my say hello to the bad guy, to our very own Patreon. Fred Peterson's in the house. It's a great day to be a Lions fan. Every day is a great day to be a Lions fan. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
We even have a Packer fan in here. Steve is real. Yeah, is in the house.
I do like the Packers and where they're going.
And we got Chris Fultz in there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. David's in the house. So if you're in there, comment. Throw a good comment in there. Tell us where you're from, if anything. If you're brand new, Brent. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. What's going on, everybody? We're gonna move on to the next position group right here. We're gonna talk a little bit about these running backs. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you gonna rate these running? Let me read what Athletic says. No drama here. The Lions have arguably the league's best running back duo in Montgomery and Gibbs, which is why they are listed as co-starters here. Both playing at a Pro Bowl level last season are expected to do it again. Gibbs in particular could be even better in his second season. It's scary to think of these two. And for depth, having Craig Reynolds has been, he's been stellar as anybody that just needs to come in off the bench. Where you got him ranked there, West Coast?
Absolute 10. If you want to hate on the Lions as a divisional rival, that's fine. If you want to say that we're anything less than a top 3 running back room in the league, then you're just letting your bias, your hate for us overrun it. Look, in Montgomery and Gibbs, Craig Reynolds, and essentially anyone else we decide to throw in there, this is a stout running back room amongst the league's best. Like I said, no matter how you break it down, if you're given at least a mildly honest and fair assessment, we're top 3 in the league. I got us as the best in the league. No homer. You will hear some of my gradings later, so this is absolute homer free. But yeah, you can't say that we're anything less than the top 3 in the league.
I love that. And I agree too. That's a 10 out of 10. Our offense is going to be very, very scary when it comes to that. And the cover photo for the Detroit Lions villain squad right now is my running back rankings for the NFC North. And everybody's coming at me, there's no homer. There's no homer in that at all. That's what it is. Like, you want to go back that up. The top running backs are Montgomery, Gibbs, then Josh Jacobs, then Aaron Jones, then DeAndre Swift. So it is what it is. I can't help that we got the 2 best running backs in the North, maybe even in the league. And it has a lot to do with the offensive line, but that's a 10 out of 10. That's a 10 out of 10 easily right there. Make sure that you're throwing your scales in there too. So we got a 9. Both me and Gregg are identical so far, a 9 and a 10 so far. And we're going to move on right here to the wide receiver group. And this is kind of a wild card. I guess it depends on what you like here. The Lions are likely to add a wide receiver before it's all said and done. They lost Josh Reynolds because I know everybody hates on him because he dropped 2 very, very crucial passes in the NFC Championship. But the dude was a solid ball catcher all year long, and it's hard to just go and just take him right out of the mix. So where are you grading these wide receivers at going into the draft?
I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Look, there's not a bunch of household names. I like Jamo. I think he does take the next step next year. I think it's going to be kind of forced upon him, and I think he can absolutely thrive in that role. Look, to be honest with you, Russ, I've tempered my expectations on Jamo. I had him pegged as our Joey Galloway, coming out. As of right now, the production just isn't there. I do see him as a Percy Harvin type, just offensive weapon. You can't speed kills, and yeah, he does have drop issues. I get it. I'm not here to defend that. But I like what we have as him as our number 2. And, Cleve Raymond as our number 3. I do like what you touched on us adding receiver. Shout out to Walter Stringer for bringing this up, 1 catch Reynolds. But all of those 1 catches, man, they were clutch and they were crucial. They were, Russ. Yep. He always came through with big catches, and I'm not going to get into the NFC Championship game. I think Josh Reynolds was a scapegoat. I really look at it as necessarily Murphy's Law in that NFC Championship game. The second half, anything that could go wrong did go wrong. So I liked Reynolds. I thought he was a good third option. And I think as of right now, I got us as a 6, maybe 7 out of 10. I do like what you said. I do think we add talent somehow, some way. Still a big name receiver on the market, and Tyler Boyd, as of my knowledge. Sorry, I've been kind of out of the loop a little bit, and potentially a draft pick. So yeah, I'd give it a 6 or 7, maybe a C grade. I think we're about league average.
Okay, that sounds good. So you're getting about a 6 or 7. Before I give my grade, I'll get in here. Lions QB room from Fred Peterson is going to sit at an 8 or 9. Not everybody's as sold on Jared Goff as maybe you or I are on, but I think it's a nice recipe that's all working well together. Fred Peterson says that the running back room is sitting at a 10. Yeah, all the best in the NFL. I love where we're coming at right there. Dave Barnett says, I love the 3 running backs a lot. No need to draft one. Brent says that Swift has had some of the best O-linemen. I wonder how good he'll be in Chicago. That remains to be seen. He's a good running back. That's not a slight. I mean, I think our running backs are that good. I'm not saying that your running backs aren't good. I like Josh Jacobs as a running back. I like DeAndre Swift. And as a matter of fact, I love Aaron Jones, man. I think Aaron Jones is – I mean,
he's been one of the best, Russ. We hate him because he's an ex-Packer, and we he's a Viking now. This guy's been a top – even if you're the biggest hater, he's been a top 10 running back in the league. I know health is a concern with him, but, man, he does it all. I mean, he's a scat back with the ability to actually run between, the tackles. And, I mean, what can you say? He's still a problem in our division, so –
Steve says that the Packers just signed offensive tackle Andre Dillard.
Okay, that's a good move. Good move for them.
And Fred also says, I agree 6 or 7 for wide receivers. Could use an X. I was a little bit higher on him. I really liked the way that they were using Jameson Williams down the stretch. And what losing Josh Reynolds does is it opens up a target share that's there that I think is going to kind of be evenly distributed between like all of the skill positions. You'll see Gibbs get a little bit more, Laporta get a little bit more. You'll see, I think that you'll definitely see an uptick in what Jameson Williams gets. And the Lions are okay with bringing guys along slow. And I talked about this a little bit earlier this week on the show, just like guys like Jack Campbell, right? You draft a guy 18th overall who doesn't really find any type of home until the Anzalone injury came in, and then he jumped right in and solidified his spot on the roster, and then they worked it around. But they've done a good job at getting the best players out there, and sometimes you got to move people around and, develop guys before they come on. And Jameson was gone for most of the first year, second year with the gambling and all that. So, he's coming along, and the speed is undeniable. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10 just because Amon-Ra St. Brown was a first-team All-Pro. He's best wide receiver in football. And I like Khalif Raymond. That dude, all he does is catch clutch passes on third down. So you can count on him to do that. So they do need to draft another one, so that's why I only give it an 8 out of 10. So it's because I like their pass catchers. They just need another one. They need one more solid, reliable catcher, and then we can move on with that. Okay, so we had running backs, we did wide receivers, and now we can get into the tight ends right here. We don't have to spend too much time on this. I think that we could agree on this one, but where do you got our tight end group?
Honestly, I hate to be a homer again, man, but I really want to give us an 8 or 9 out of 10. Russ, look, I'm a huge Brock Wright fan. I was a little shocked when the Niners tried to pluck him from us. Brock Wright is the type of guy that, just like Khalif Raymond, whenever called upon, comes in, gets the job done, and exceeds expectations. Is he a superstar, a household name? No. But he's a very good tight end in his own right to complement Sam Laporta. Didn't see much out of Mitchell last year. Was a little disappointing, but I think at worst he's a good third stringer to have on. So, and Sammy Laporta, come on, man, he gave you top 5 tight end production in the league last year. What's to say about this kid? He's automatically become one of Goff's safety nets. He'll remain and continue to get a huge target share. So, yeah, I give this an 8.5 out of 10.
Wow, man, I was maybe I am a super homer because I have to give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, because what can you do? You have arguably the best tight end in the league as your tight end one. Brock Wright has been nothing but a stellar backup. He can do a little bit
Agreed.
of everything, and they really like him as an undrafted free agent. And really, if we're splitting hairs over James Mitchell or Shane Zylstra as a number 3 guy,
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
mean,
Life's pretty good.
sure, maybe 9.5, 9. I mean, 9 at the lowest. I mean, you can't ask for anything more uh,
True.
out of that room right there. But what can you expect? Your head coach is an ex tight end, so
Agreed.
maybe I am a little
Expectations
bit
are
of a
high.
homer. Maybe I'm a little bit of a homer right here, but I think that you'll see more of my realism here when we get to the defensive side of the ball. I just think our offense is top notch, from top to bottom. Now let's go ahead and finish that out, grading the position group right here. Uh, Offensive line. Where do you got us at, brother?
I got 10 out of 10. I mean, I really hate to look. I'm not even trying to be a homer, but just like a running back room. Look, man, if you want to hate on the Lions, say this team's got a better offensive line, and there's some other good offensive lines in the league. You know, the Cleveland Browns, very good offensive line. The Bucks, but look, this offensive line is so stellar. I don't know what else to say other than we have what I consider, and this is debatable, the best tackle in the game. Put him on the left side. Put him on and Penei Sewell. This guy, to me, I wouldn't say this about any other Lion, but if I had to put money on someone being a future Hall of Famer, it would definitely be Penei Sewell. Look, the guy just pancakes. He's a stonewall. Then you just throw in all the other pieces around him, which have played at Pro Bowl or All Pro caliber type season. It's amazing, Russ. This offensive line is the bread and butter of this team, in my opinion.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I saw a stat the other day about Penei Sewell, and they were like, Daniel Hunter, Sweat, and Gary. They named all the biggest pass rushers. Zero, zero
Zero
sacks. He does
sacks.
like
Yeah,
you get it's no fly zone back there. You get stonewalled. It doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't
yes,
matter who you
sir.
are, as good as those other players are. I got him rated right there too. But the thing is like, but this is a draft priority right here. So if I had to rank,
Agreed.
you know, what the priorities would be, I mean, you're probably not going to go after a running back, with a high priority or anything. But he says BPA, so don't be surprised
Yeah,
if they select a running back at 29. No, no,
you
but you want you need somebody that I think that they'll draft as an offensive lineman that has some versatility, a guy that
agreed.
can play guard and tackle, and that way he can develop. He probably won't crack the starting lineup the first year, but he'll get to learn behind some all pros. So that'll be good. These guys are studs, man. I mean, I didn't think that it was possible for them to get better, losing Jonah Jackson and Graham Glasgow, and they just re-sign Glasgow, and then they
Yep.
upgrade by bringing in Zeitler. Um, so that's a win-win right there. Let me see what these guys got in here in the comments. If we got anything? I thought I saw. Uh, oh, there's Sarah. Man, I really need to see. I'm outside. Let's see. I'm outside waiting for my friend to open the door. Oh my God. I got old people, but I think I'm getting into some. All right. I'm going to get out of the personal comments right here. Gosh, what am I doing? All right. Let's just moving along right here. We're going to go to the defensive side of the ball. Can we agree that wide receiver and offensive line is probably about the only thing that they might draft?
Yeah,
That
no,
you guys.
I agree with you there, Russ. Yeah, even though I say we're the best offensive line in the league, like we touched on earlier, we got two guards over 30. I have no issue with the 29th pick. Interior O linemen usually go a little bit later in the draft as well too, unless they're just generational Zach Martin type. So I really do look at interior offensive line. Someone with a little bit of versatility as a real chance at 29, Russ.
Yeah, for sure. And you always have to worry about injuries. They brought back Awasuka, they had or Awasika, and Sorsdal as a backup guard right here. I really like the idea of the Lions continuing to develop guys, just because you saw really big jumps in Derek Barnes and Ifatu Melifanu, and you really
Yeah,
thought you were going to get nothing after 2 years. So I'm really feeling good about guys like Josh Pascal and like Broderick Martin going
yeah,
into uh, second years and third years underneath our regime,
yeah,
however they handle their practices and whatnot.
yeah.
But
Yes,
moving
sir.
to the defensive side right here, and this is where I mean, this is where we're probably going to get some of the lower grades right here. So we'll start with defensive end right here, because I know how much you like Aiden Hutchinson, but let's see where your grade is after Aiden Hutchinson.
I love Aiden Hutchinson. I think he is. I got him pegged as the sixth best defensive end in the game. I mean, you could swing. I got him on that 1.5 tier. I do have him outside my top five. I just think the top five guys are just on a level that I don't want to say is untouchable, but man. Anyway, Russ, I mean, even if you hate on him, he's a top 10 defensive end, in my opinion. Outside of that, Russ, I do not like it. I did not like the Davenport signing. Look, I love Davenport coming out of college. To put it bluntly, this guy, as of right now, is a first round bust. He's had one productive season with the Saints. Saints let him walk, went to the Vikings, got injured again, and was actually a healthy scratch for the Vikings the last quarter of the season. They're like, you know what, dude? Take your money and go. We are hoping on some, development from Pascal, as well as we're hoping James Houston can rebound. He came back for 34 snaps last year, didn't do anything. I'm going to be honest with you, Russ. I look at our situation this offseason as a lot like last offseason, and that got a lot of hopium. We're hoping, we're praying. Anyone take that starting position opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I don't like it, Russ. I don't. I feel like this year is too similar to last year. If I'm grading the whole position group as a whole, maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10. I don't like that feeling of hoping or preying on development or hoping or taking someone solidifies himself. Russ, we talked in the offseason. I was really hoping we would peg a for sure starter or something to that assessment. And I don't feel like it was addressed properly. So I feel like this season is a lot like last offseason, last offseason between Romeo, Julian, and Harris, none of them emerged. Like I just said, Houston came in for 34 snaps, didn't show us anything, so banking on people to take the next step, it's a tough task, man. So I'll just say 5 or 6 out of 10 for the whole group. Aiden Hutchinson, love you. I got you as the sixth best defensive end in the league. But outside, man, I really would have liked to bring in some solidified, bona fide game changer, and I don't think we did that.
Yeah, I guess I'm about right where you're at. I'm putting them at I'll say 5 or 6 as well, because, and I would say lean more towards the 6, just because they do put some stock in, and I'm not high on Davenport, but they didn't pay 13 million like the Vikings did for him last year. You got nothing, for a bag of chips. You bring a guy in, and here's what I feel about Davenport. He's not been available. So when he's out there, then when he's actually taking the snaps, I mean, he gets you a sack every other game when you just line up. But the thing is, I don't know. I mean, you want to see more there. I like just bringing back Houston. You got to give him a shot there. You still got Kaminsky. You brought in Betts. I don't even know if this guy's going to make the roster. So
I don't know either, Russ. And I've heard a lot of hype about him. And look, I get it. former Lion from the Canadian Football League. It was in the NFL for a little spear, but yeah, it didn't quite work out. We'll see what happens.
When I try to look at this off season, I try to look at it like, uh, what did you get? What did you get? What did you lose? Right. So you lose Romeo Okwara, you lose Charles Harris, and you bring in Davin Poop and and um and Betts. I mean, I don't, or bringing back James Houston. You know, uh, you are doing kind of the same thing. I get what you're saying right there, but you're doing it with different people. You're betting on the Okwara brothers to be that guy, so that experiment is over. So now you got some different guys. So here's something where I wouldn't mind if they wanted to move up in the draft or they wanted to go get a bona fide pass
Yeah.
rusher in the draft. I think this is a good position that they could get a lot better at. I think they got all of those
Agreed.
pieces that we mentioned. The Pascal. You want to see these guys take the next step, but
Yeah.
you know you but you want to bring the competition into the room. So if you can squeeze that
Absolutely.
bottom guy out, yeah,
Yeah.
let's get better there.
And Russ, it wouldn't be such a big deal to me, except for I feel this Lions team is ready to win now. And that's why you and me spoke about it. I was assuming Brad Holmes was going to bring in that superstar, that bona fide superstar, to kind of whether they pair in the secondary, bring a standout talent in the secondary, or bring one up in the front line here. And I don't feel like we did it. Russ, I spoke to you. You look at every top 10 defense around the league, you can name two players on each defense if you're in the know in the NFL that are pretty much household names if you're an NFL fan.
Right.
Outside of Hutch, and I love Lee McNeil. He flashed a lot last year.
Sure.
But yeah, and we'll leave it at that.
DJ Reader's in that spot right there. That dude's, when he's out on the field, is a top 3 D. But we'll get into that. I don't want to get into that yet because we are going to hit the defensive tackles as well. I think that Sarah's in the comments right now. She's kind of talking. I think that she's having a conversation trying to get JJ McCarthy to make his way on to the Vikings.
That's a good spot for him. In Kevin O'Connell's offense, great spot.
Okay, so let's get in here. Let's grade this defensive tackle room. And I mean, they did add DJ Reader, and it should be noted that before we even talk about this, the price for Wilkins and Daniil Hunter were $25 million plus right here. They got this kid, they got DJ Reader for $7 million guaranteed. It looks like a $25 million deal for 2 years or whatever the contract says, but as well as I do, the only thing that matters in a contract is that guaranteed
money. Absolutely, Russ.
There's the room. What do you think, man?
In terms of where we're at, I'd give it a 7 or 8 out of 10. I love Lee McNeil, one of my favorite Detroit Lions, unsung hero last year. Really, really put it all together last year. He got injured down the stretch last year. I like bringing in Reader. Reader is a 0-1 technique, gap-eating monster. This guy commands double teams. I think he'll help alleviate the job on Hutch as well as Aleem, get them a little bit more one-on-one play. I'd give it a 7 or 8 out of 10. Is it the best DT room in the league? I don't think so. Is it one of the poor ones? I don't think so. I'd put us above average, definitely. You take a run defense, which was very stellar last year. You had DJ Reader, who's a defensive run stuffing specialist, and you essentially make a strength stronger. And so I like the Reader pickup. In terms of pass rush, now the big guy does generate pressures, which is amazing for a man his size. He is more of a 2-down defensive tackle, but I could see him with this Lions roster as Broderick Martin's developing behind him, being more of a 3-down guy. I'm not sure if that's exactly ideal. Now, he doesn't generate sacks. Anyone that thinks he's coming in here to up our sack total, it's not his forte. I actually got into it with a Lions fan about a week ago. who wanted to attribute Trey Hendrickson's rise to DJ Reader being added to the Bengals roster. Trey Hendrickson has been a stud and is debatably as good as Aiden Hutchinson, so we can just shut that down now. But DJ Reader is a good player in his own right. Doesn't bring the sacks, but is a run-stuffing monster and helps generate a little pressures, which almost helps. So about a 7 or 8 out of 10, Russ.
Well, let me help the person that was talking about how he can attribute Trey Hendrickson's success to DJ Reader. DJ Reader knows how to play the defensive tackle position. I think that when it comes to being selfless, that's what you want out of your defensive tackle. And when you get good defensive tackle play, that's what he does. With his long arms, he's trying to take a double team out, and he's trying to get, edge rushers or whoever's next to him a one-on-one look.
Good point.
Whether that person wins their one-on-one and gets the sack, that's
up to them.
So you could say, yes, Trey Hendrickson got more sacks because of good defensive tackle play. But it isn't because necessarily DJ Reader. It's because he's getting good defensive tackle play, and he got lots of one-on-ones. And by the way, he won his one-on-ones and was able to get to the quarterback and get the sack. So be careful. Be careful when you try to give all that credit to that person. He will help Hutchinson.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the pass rushers on the other side, it should be noted too, Hutchinson's the type of dude that's going to play 90% of the snaps, and you're probably not going to see him come off the field too much on any down, where on the other side, you're taking a guy like Pascal, Kaminsky, Davenport. They're probably all going to be on like a 20, 30% snap. They're going to be rotating that other side. And if you notice, all three of those pass rushers are really different. Kaminsky is different from Pascal, which is different from, well, Pascal and Kaminsky are kind of similar in a way because they're versatile in the middle. But definitely James Houston is different than Davenport, and Davenport is different than all of those. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to find mismatches and work on the other side. And Hutchinson just kind of stays there and says, look, I'm a mismatch.
I'm not coming off the field.
I ain't coming off the field.
Watch this spin move.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it? All right. So let's get into, we're moving back to the second part right here. Second grouping here, linebacker. Now, we normally, it should be noted that we normally have two linebackers that are out there at a time. So the starting linebackers, and then you're talking about depth after that. So go ahead and grade this group on a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, Russ, to be honest with you, I'll start by saying this. The Detroit Lions have no superstars in their linebacker core, but I'll say this. I feel we have 5 above average linebackers, 2 good linebackers. I think this is our best positional group on defense. It's our deepest. It's our most consistent. Without being a homer, do I believe that this is like some elite linebacker core? Absolutely not. Do I believe that this is top half of the league and our deepest position? Absolutely. I have no issue giving us a 9 out of 10 here, not because of superstar play. We don't have a Fred Warner, on our team, but we get consistently good play from this linebacker group. Derek Barnes, Rodrigo, Jalen Reeves-Maben, these are great rotational guys who, when asked to come and step in, you don't miss a beat. Jack Campbell, as you brought up early, really emerged late in the season last year when Anzalone was down. Couldn't be happier for this group. I feel this is our deepest and most consistent positional group, so I can't help but give us an 8.5 or 9 out of 10 on this.
Wow, man, I expected you to go lower than that, man, because I had this group at a 9 out of 10, solid right there. And the only thing I disagreed with, and I'm not even really disagreeing with it, is superstars. I think Jack Campbell is a budding superstar, but we're just going to have to see where that's at. I think that a normal, like a Kelvin Shepard, the way that he's brought him along has been really smart. And it seems like 20 out of the other clubs that would have had a guy like Jack Campbell would have rushed him right out there and, had him taking steps, but they brought him along in the right way. They had Barnes and Anzalone that were playing really well, able to bring him out, and he still had over 90 tackles, even, and that's it wasn't a part-time role for most of the season.
Yep.
So I think that Jack Campbell could be a huge superstar in this league because of his length, the way he's built. You can't teach 6'4" with the longest arms you've ever seen with that type of speed. So I don't expect them to invest a high draft pick, maybe a developmental day 3 pick, maybe in the linebacker room at the most, right there. But wow, good. All right.
Agreed.
So here, all right, be gentle. Be gentle. Here's the quarterback room.
All right. You don't want me to kick this off, do you, Russ?
Yeah, you go ahead. I think I'm just gonna like try to douse the flame a little bit when you get through there. I'll try to help them see a little bit of the silver lining.
All right. So as far as a grade is the quarterback room, I give us maybe a 3 or 4 out of 10. I think we're inarguably a top 10 worst quarterback room in the league. We have no clear-cut superstar. We have no budding, emerging young player, in my opinion. Carlton Davis, I liked the thought of him coming over and competing with Cam Sutton for that CB1. Not that I don't feel it would be much of a competition. We all know of the Cam Sutton incident, no longer with the team. So essentially, you bring over CB2 to play CB1. Why does this sound familiar? Oh, that's right, because we did this last year. Carlton Davis was clearly CB2. Jamal Dean was CB1 for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Carlton Davis, savvy vet. I've seen all the obscure stats over the past 5 seasons. Carlton Davis is top in pass deflections, or Carlton Davis in strictly man coverage, or Carlton Davis after week 12. Look, these are nice, obscure stats that paint a beautiful picture. I'd love to put up the graphic of Carlton Davis versus Jerry Jacobs last year. The stats are eerily similar. In fact, Jerry Jacobs was better in more than half of them. This is a decent move in that we're bringing in a veteran who's played the game for a while. But I'm not going to get this twisted. I like Meek Robertson. I think he's a tough guy. A little bit small on the cornerback side of things of how big you want someone. I do like bringing him in terms of he's got that moxie. He's got that grit. He wants to show out. Has he shown out in his career? I think it's a bit of a stretch. I'm just going to stand that cornerback is a need, and I don't like that there are a lot of good free agents out there. And the fact that we picked up Carlton Davis in his contract, and I talked to you, Russ, I love Kendall Fuller. This guy had the versatility. This guy had footballs in his bloodline. He's played very well on a very precarious and just strange Commanders team for the majority of his career. 4 out of 10. I don't like a cornerback room. I look at what the NFC North has around us in terms of wide receivers. We're going to trust Carlton Davis to cover one of these guys. I don't like it, Russ. I think it's a huge need, and I don't like our offseason.
Okay, right on. So you got the cornerback room at 3, 4 out of 10. I'm not much better, man. I mean, I still think that this is a need that's out there. I got him at a 5 out of 10 because and that's more of our coaching staff that I believe in that because I mean, if you stick that Jerry Jacobs stat right up there next to the Carlton Davis, I think what that Tampa Bay asked him to do some things that he wasn't necessarily his strong suit. I don't think he's a strong zone corner trying to get in there. I think that if you're going to use Carlton Davis in the correct way, you got him right on the line of scrimmage. You're checking that guy. You're trying to do that bump and press, and you're going to lock down the man. And you're trying to give our pass rush enough time to get home because we're going to be aggressive this year. So when I tried to, this is where I'll try to help everybody and everybody that has the kind of the thought like what Gregg's talking about right here. So is Carlton Davis a lockdown corner? No. Is Amik Robertson the end all be all? No. But is Carlton Davis better and Amik Robertson better than Jerry Jacobs and Will Harris? Absolutely. So it's an upgrade in the room when you look, or Kendall Vildor, which you bring Kendall Vildor back. Thank God Kendall Vildor isn't going to be going in there as your number 2 corner next year So it's like, is it better? Is it better in the way that you wanted it? Maybe not. But like you said, they still have. I mean, Stephon Gilmore's still out there in free agency. They still
Very
have.
true. There's still some options out there, Russ, and we'll see how the draft rolls out. There's still some very
Right.
talented players on the market. Yeah, there's still some very talented players on the market. I think Brad Holmes and a lot of these teams with these big name players still on the market are just waiting to see how the draft shakes out. So yeah, it's not all
So
doom and
high
gloom with this
priority.
quarterback room.
So there's no doubt in our mind, like you and I are in agreement right here. Either way you want to slice the room as it is now is a big need going into
Absolutely.
this draft.
Arguably our biggest need. Arguably, I put it right there with edge opposite Hutch. I'd actually put cornerback a little bit more just because our defensive line is a little bit more stout, in my opinion. I 100% though think it's still a need, and I hate going into the draft with a need. I would like to see a guy picked at least by day two, just even if he's more developmental, but something's got to give in this cornerback room.
Yeah, for sure. And there's no doubt that Brad Holmes heard you, because when you look at their top 30 visits, I think that they spent like 16 of them are on cornerbacks and
I
secondary
seen
positions.
that.
So they're looking, man. I think that they're going to pick one, maybe two. And I think the only reason that they didn't sign a guy like Stephon Gilmore is because they wanted to see what they could get in the draft first. And if they only get one cornerback in the draft, expect them to go back into free agency and sign another player
Agreed.
for that.
Agreed.
Now, that was, man, I got the wrong one in there. I didn't put my safety one up, but when you look at our safety room, the first glance that I'm looking at it is you got rid of Tracy Walker and Chauncey Gardner Johnson got a bag over in Philadelphia. Kudos to you going and getting
Yes,
your
sir.
money. But that did leave a hole right there. They're going to move Brian Branch. He's taking some reps at safety because I think they're going to put Amik at that slot corner position.
Yeah.
So you got Brian Branch, Ifatu, and you got Kirby. So you might. I
I,
mean, I could see them even going high.
I love our safety room, Russ. I think Iffy, who opened up your show, shout out to Iffy, man. I'm trying to buy your signed memorabilia on eBay, man, and it's man. After that interception to lock in the divisional champ thing for us, it's hard to find. I like what we have in Iffy. I love Kirby. I think we got two ball hawks back there. Iffy's not afraid to play the run either. I like what we have, and you said we'll swing Branch back there at safety. I
Yep.
like our safety room, and I'll just say this, Russ: without the good safety play that we had last year, we don't win a playoff game. Our corners were absolutely cooked all year last year. I like what we have in Iffy. I'm okay with letting Chauncey Gardner Johnson walk. Look, I like Chauncey Gardner Johnson. I still do. I compare him to the Pat Beverly of the NFL. Big mouthpiece. I did not like the hit on Deebo Samuel. I think that was a cheap shot. I won't say that led to us not re-signing him, but stuff like that, I just don't think it's the type of player or the type of play that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell like. I don't think they minded the mouthpiece. The play was there to back it up, but I
Right.
like our safety room, Russ. I like Iffy. Iffy to me did more than flash. He was a stellar safety that last quarter stretch as well as in the playoffs for the season. And I think it played a big part in letting us let a Chauncey Gardner Johnson go. As far as letting Tracy Walker go, you know where I've been with him, Russ. I think he's a good old school
Lions good.
safety, a good strictly box safety. He would have been great in the 70s, 80s, 90s. In today's NFL, we're so pass happy. His coverage skills were meh at best. He was very inconsistent. I did see he was back in Detroit. Maybe he resigns on a much cheaper deal. But I like our safety room in terms of starters. I think this is a good, budding, emerging safety room. And I would personally give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Woo! Oh, I like it. Wow, man, I'm going to go lower than you on that. Um, and and it has nothing to do with. I mean, to me, it's just lack of depth where they have it right now. I love the three players that they have there, and they love versatility. And what I love about Brian Branch and Iffy Melavanu is, for one, you cross-trained Brian Branch. You
Yeah,
had him play cornerback in the NFL first, and now you're going to go and cross-train him at safety. You did the same thing with Itti Melifanu. We came in as a long corner and learned how to play cornerback, got injured, came back, and then they cross-trained him and they had him going to safety. So now he understands those things. So I could see them drafting a day 2, day 3 pick in
yeah,
the safety room right there, but it's going to be a guy that can be cross trained, a guy that is, I think is
yeah,
going to be in that Lions mold, right? That physical dude playing, not afraid to tackle type of guy, type of
yeah,
safety that has cornerback skills.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
and one of the things I wanted to get into is, and I don't care about us going over and being a little bit longer here because this is a great conversation. Um,
Yes, sir.
but I apologize to anybody that's on. I mean, when I'm having a conversation with somebody, it's hard to get to the comments, especially when I feel like I'm intruding on a conversation in the middle of the comments sometimes.
What do we
So
got in the
I
comments,
apologize
Russ?
for that. Oh no,
Anything
I
any
think
good in there?
no. I mean, they start talking. Sarah will start talking to Steve, and then Steve they'll start having their
Yeah,
own conversations, and we encourage that anyway.
absolutely,
I mean, for sure. But one of the
absolutely.
roster turnover and player development. This is one of the reasons why I'm really so confident in some of these guys like the Josh Pascals and these guys going into the third year, knowing how things are going on because you can get the rising tide levels up all the ships, right? So they
Yeah,
built this culture that's in there, and these guys are growing more accustomed to it, and it's no wonder that some of these guys are blossoming in their second,
yes,
third year under really, really good leadership. So
yes.
and I love that going into maybe that wasn't really a topic to go in on anything, but that will segue me into I want to invite everybody next week. We're doing the third annual draft special. I'm going to be over at Main Event Mike's house at 7 p.m. sharp and eating some of that good food, and we're going to cover the entire first round of the draft. Hopefully, the Lions pick in the first round. I don't know. Maybe they'll trade out of the first round, and 150,000 Detroitians will be down there and going, "Oh shit, man, pick a guy." What they're gonna do about that? But one thing I
Yeah.
haven't got a chance to talk to you about is where are you at in the pay Amon Ra $25 million year camp?
I look, man. There are three players. Russ, I've been very vocal. I love Brad Holmes' draft. He has arguably been the best GM in the NFL since he took over for the Lions. I'll say arguably. There's other great GMs out there, that I don't want to take anything away from. I'm absolutely okay paying him on Raw, St. Brown. I think if we're having a serious conversation about the best wide receivers in the league, in my opinion, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, right underneath him, based on production, I got him on Ross St. Brown. I liken him to a Steve Smith, a Golden Tate, a Hines Ward type of player, in which I feel that Amon Ra is left out of the best wide receivers in the league far too often. Now, look, is he a burner? No. Is he a jump ball 50-50 Moshi type guy? No. But the guy checks everything else, and that includes work ethic. Look, since becoming one of the best wide receivers in the league, top five in my opinion, the guy still hits the jugs machine. This guy is always looking to get better. His run blocking is stellar, as good as anyone else in the league. Tough catches in traffic, he'll make those catches. Safety, he checks all the boxes you want from your wide receiver. $25 million a year, absolutely pay the man. There are three players I want to see get paid for our Detroit Lions, Russell. That is Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, and Amon Ross St. Brown. $25 million a year, I think that's an absolute steal.
I love it. I love it, and I'm in that category too. I mean, you put him in your top five. It looked like right there was that six. You
I
had
got
him
him.
at six.
I got him in the top five. Look, you can make an
Okay.
argument, Russ, that there are wide receivers, Jamar Chase with just better overall skill sets. But at some point, you have to factor in the production. And Amon Ra's production, it's there, folks. like I said, does he have a slight? He had his longest run last year. What was it, 80 yards? He had to hit about 6 different turns to get it there because he's not exactly a burner. But look,
Right.
man, he checks all the boxes, man. He's a smart, savvy player, and one of the things that I think is underrated about him, Russ, is he's an intelligent wide receiver. He knows how to hit that angle to make the first down happen. So
Yeah, I love the comparison to Hines Ward. That was one of the ones that I was thinking right off of the bat. That's what he reminded me of. And and the thing is like, I mean, what do you like? You want just a straight route runner or whatever, and you want a guy that's just going to catch the ball. That's fine. But how many wide receivers make your run game better? You know, how many
agreed,
wide receivers will completely sell their route even though they know they're not getting the ball and do
agreed.
all the little things.
The
It's like
extras,
he's there in that.
yeah. I agree,
Um,
Russ. Like I said, if you would ask me 2 years ago if I thought this kid had a chance at being better than Debo Samuel, who I like, one of my favorite wide receivers, a wide receiver very similar to Amon Ra. I think he's got a little bit more burner potential, but it's the production, And like I said, you look at the cold hard numbers, Russ. He's there amongst the league's best.
yeah, I mean, Debo Samuel's a decent comparison to. Yeah, maybe he does have a little more of the burner thing, but I'll take Amon
Yeah,
Ra's hands and being
absolutely,
available out there, being able to
absolutely.
catch the ball 12, 13 times in a game that you can count on.
Yes, sir.
We used to call him third down St. Brown. That's what we call him in the Lions Den because you can
I
count
love
on him,
it.
dude. He's like the seven
Yeah,
eleven, dude. He's always open on third down. You can count on him.
absolutely,
Um, where you
absolutely.
so you're not about the oh my golf. I mean, you're not about extending golf. Thank you for your time. Thank you for service rendered.
Well, Russ, I'm going to put it to you like this: if we do extend them, and I'll just say it like this: look, man, love Matthew Stafford, one of my favorites of all time. I do not want to go another 11, 12 years of just kind of almost being there or, oh, we're, good stats. I want our team to win, and if this means letting Goff play out his contract, let's see what we got from Hooker in the preseason. I'm okay with that. I'm also okay with bringing Goff back, for 2, 3, 4 years, maybe 5, however you want to break it down. Either or, Russ, I trust in Brad Holmes. I've critiqued him a little bit today. I don't like how he addressed our offseason necessarily, but I'm okay with letting Goff play out his contract. And this isn't a knock on Goff. I love Goff. I think he embodies Detroit. Just in terms of city spirit, someone that was just kind of written off in an afterthought, but has emerged as undeniably a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I love the guy, but like I said, Russ, I do not want to get hamstrung. Kind of like I guess what the Bills are looking like with Josh Allen in a player that just shows it and then come to playoffs and dies. Now, Goff did us a solid. We haven't been the Bills where we've gotten playoff wins. Goff did us a solid and got us farther than any other quarterback has in Detroit Lions history in the Super Bowl era. And so I'm kind of just on the fence. If we bring him back, great. I love everything he's done. He embodies the city and spirit of Detroit. But if we let him play on his contract and see if he can get us at least 2 Super Bowl, I'm okay with that too. Sorry for being so long-winded there.
No, you're good, man. I mean, you put your thoughts that are out there, man. That's a great assessment of it. And I think, and I've been on record to say this too. I love golf. I've been a golf supporter, especially during the down times. Like I had a little
Yeah,
bit different take when they started 1-6 because I was looking and seeing something different than 1-6. I remember coming on there, I'm like, these guys are going to win the next 6 games, and they ended up winning 5 out of their 6, and then they were in that playoff on. And that was after that Buffalo game, and it was just like, come on, man, I can see that there's something that's different here, and a lot of it had to do with Goff, man. I mean, Goff isn't the sexiest dude to go out there. It doesn't look good sometimes, but here's the thing: is during the big moments, you can count on him to put a ball
yeah,
somewhere and not get
yeah,
flustered and do it right. I mean, he had 2
absolutely.
chances. He threw 2 dimes to Josh Reynolds. Well, maybe one of them was a dime, but the other one was there catchable
Definitely
for him.
catchable. Yeah,
That would have ended the game. A brand new
yeah,
first down. They would have ran another 5 minutes, been in scoring position. It's like it's a different ball game in that. And then fluke stuff bouncing off of helmets and like
Yeah.
passes. Like it took all of that, but
Russ,
doesn't.
I do want to say this. Look, sorry to cut you off, man. So we had 5 drops, in that second half. 2 by Reynolds, 1 by Amon-Ra, 1 by Laporta, and 1 by JMO. I hate throwing out these hypotheticals, but let's just say those catches are made. I'm not going to get into the end result of the game or anything. But if those 5 catches are made, Jared Goff has a 75% completion rate against one of the best defenses I've seen in the NFL in years, in the San Francisco 49ers. That is an absolute amazing stat. When it comes to the blame game for that game, Goff, in my opinion, is completely blameless. Look, he he has the mobility of a wounded giraffe. I get it. He's not one of your prototypical today NFL quarterbacks where they got the ability to extend with their legs, create with their legs. I get all that. But Jared Goff checks every other single box that you want out of a quarterback. Excluding the Bears games, he's not a turnover type quarterback. This is someone that gives you a chance to win every game and is very clutch.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And on the part of the mobility thing, Goff is fine at mobility within the pocket. When certain things happen, a guy will rush in. He's good at sidestepping a guy and still making a play under pressure. It's like people get that mistaken a lot of time because it doesn't look good from his perspective. And who the hell wants to see their quarterback running anyway? Holy shit, man! You don't see a lot of evidence of like great quarterbacks that are just running the ball all the time. Even
You
when
know,
Mahomes runs the ball, it's really just to escape a situation.
yeah,
And outside of that, it's pinpoint accuracy throws, getting it into the hands of the playmakers. That's the most important thing and has been the most important thing since day one. So,
absolutely.
as far as extending them, do it. If not, I mean, I like playing the business game. I mean, let this year
Me
play
too.
out. You could do
Yep.
a franchise tag on him next year if you felt
Yep.
like Hendon Hooker wasn't ready yet. But it sounds to me
Yep.
like the kid's going to be ready because from what Lee McNeil says, the dude throws about the prettiest ball that he's ever seen when he was watching Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
And they may have something there, and I don't think that can be undersold. Um,
Exactly.
so if they're going to extend them, I could see them doing it. I can't see them doing any more than 2-year extension beyond that. If he's willing to do
Agreed.
$45 million a year, do it so you can lower the cap number for this year. Maybe you can
Yeah.
extend Taylor Decker by a year or two,
Yeah.
just to keep that stability in there. That way you can draft a tackle that can develop underneath of
Yep.
him. So I think we're in a good spot. I mean,
I do too.
that's what I was really trying to get to today was that exercise going through position by position. I hope that this exercise has taken to a spot and just thought, wow, man, maybe we aren't really like there's really not a lot of places that you're going to be able to crack the roster on this team, and that's even
Agreed.
with the draft picks. I
Agreed.
mean, could we see some draft picks not even make the team this year, or is it going to squeeze some of these veterans that are on the
Yep.
team that played roles last year? We're in a
Yeah.
place. We're in that place right now. But we're also at a place right here where I'm going to turn into a pumpkin. I am on vacation, so
Yeah.
I
There
always,
you go.
I always get this. But is there anything that you want to plug before I close these guys out?
You know what, Russ? This has been amazing being on the show with you, man. I hope to doing this more often, regularly with you.
Well, at least come on one time next week so we can get prepped on the draft. And
Absolutely.
that would be really cool. Awesome, man. So that's Gregg Rice. That's the West Coast stat master right there. And this is Football Talk Daily with your host Russell Wayne. And I wanted to invite everybody to come out to see Main Event Mike. Main Event Mike's doing his Monday night show again at 7 p.m. Make sure that you check him out. And then we got our 3rd annual draft special. The future is now, next week starting at 7 p.m. We're going to be doing this thing. And you know what? Jeremy B is going to be down at the draft with his press credentials. And he's
nice.
He's
Congrats to my friend Jeremy Borick.
Congratulations, my brother, for being out there. I hope that we had something to do with that here at the Villain Squad. All of us villains getting here together and doing this thing. So this is faith, family, and football. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. And it's in that order. The faith part, you coming right here. If you're using that link in our description, that's about the giving. My church, NTC, is awesome at outreach in the community, the Genesee County community. That's what you're helping if you're giving to that. And we appreciate you. God bless you for doing that if that's what you're doing. Faith, family, and football in that order. And the family and football, that's what we're doing right now, man. You got my football family. You guys are my football family. I love you guys. You know, use football to spend time with your family. Don't let football use you. And may the Lord bless you, and may the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again next time. Peace and love.
Yeah.